Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. From July 4th through August 26th, if you use this promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to win a set of all 4 Commander 2019 decks. Also, there is another way to enter where no purchase is necessary. See the description below for full details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch, where today we're going to check out the 20 highest valued Commander 2019 cards as we move into release weekend. So if you're on the fence as to which deck you want to pick up, if value is a concern for you, this video could help you out. Now when it comes to today's pricing, we are using average prices. There's a big wide variety of prices right now for some of these cards, and that's because we're on the cusp of the release. So some people are lowering prices at this point, so expect prices to change pretty dramatically in the next week or so. With that being said though, let's get into it. We'll begin with number 20, Empowered Auto Generator, $3.59. This is in the Mystic Intellect deck, that is the flashback deck, and I do think down the road this could actually go up in value quite a bit. You could make an argument that not only does this fit into every Commander deck, but it actually could be good in every Commander deck. A little expensive for a mana rock at 4 coming into play tapped at first, but as time goes on, it gives you more and more mana. And if somebody doesn't do something about this, you're going to have a lot of mana at your fingertips. And that's if you're just playing fair with it. If you have some ways to untap it, even like a Voltaic Key, you could expedite that. Or you might have a combo with this to go infinite. Filigree Sages will do it as long as this has 2 counters on it. This is also a card you could just simply throw into your Atraxa deck. I joked about that when the card was previewed. But could you imagine putting a counter on this, and then not only can you use it, but also proliferate? You'll get a lot of mana very quickly there. Number 19, Tempt with Discovery, $3.92. This is in the Faceless Menace deck, that is the Morph deck. Now this one's a reprint. It was originally from Commander 2013, also in Commander 2016, but because those were supplemental products, it is getting harder and harder to find these at a good price right now in the secondary market, so this is kind of a nice value reprint. Great in land stacks, also kind of a group hug card, which can be fun too. Number 18, Grevin, Predator Captain, $3.99. This is one of the 3 foil cards you will get in the Merciless Rage deck, which is the Madness deck. This is actually a very unique commander, actually. I have seen people thinking about building around this. Now, the problem with aggressive decks and multiplayer games is that sometimes they just run out of gas. Like, they can take out perhaps one person, but then you got a whole other group of people you got to deal with. This card mitigates that a little bit by creating a situation where you could potentially get a lot of card draw. One way to look at this card is you could run a lot of high power, low toughness creatures. By doing that, you might not get all the bang for your buck when it comes to the +X+O. However, you will be able to draw a whole bunch of cards. That will help aggressive decks keep their hand stocked, which is very critical. Or you could just go all in and try to sacrifice some high power creatures and push across commander damage. This will be better in a 1v1 commander situation, but regardless, it could be fun to try to make this work. Number 17, Solemn Simulacrum, $4.08. This one is a reprint. It does get some new art, and you will find this in the Merciless Rage deck. Not only is this a good commander card, but every once in a while, this might see a little modern play. Number 16, Agi Falcon Wrath at $4.86. Another one of the foil cards that could be your commander out of the box from the Merciless Rage deck. As a matter of fact, this is the face card that you'll see at the front of the product. This is a very fast card. Another aggressive card. We talked about some of the drawbacks of aggressive builds in multiplayer a moment ago. But check this out. It has haste and only costs 3. You can tap, discard a card, draw a card, so right away you can rummage out of the gate. And if you do discard a Madness card, and you can still pay the Madness cost and actually use the card, then this will untap and you could potentially do it again. That could be quite explosive if you have enough Madness cards in your hand and you have enough mana to actually play them. Also notice this triggers whenever you discard a card with Madness, not just when you discard to this ability. Now beyond that, this is also a vampire, so outside of this Madness build, you could take this out, put this into a vampire deck. Maybe you could use Falcon Wrath Gorger beside this, giving all the vampires in the deck Madness. That could be a good combo. Number 15, Geth, Lord of the Vault, $5.17, and yet another card you'll find in Merciless Rage. This is a reprint, but this is the first time it's ever been reprinted, originally from Scars of Mirrodin. Another reprint with some nice value attached to it. Number 14, Seedborn Muse, another very nice reprint when it comes to value, $5.18 here. You're going to find this one in the Faceless Menace deck. And this untaps all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Very powerful card for multiplayer games, hence why this is a very popular commander card generally. It works well in the Faceless Menace deck because every turn I'll get to untap my mana and at least leave the threat up that I might be able to use the Morph ability on some of my creatures. Number 13 is Gired, Conclave Exile, $5.27. This is another foil card. This is from the Primal Genesis deck. This will be the one that you see at the front of the package. What's nice about this is Primal Genesis is a populate deck. One of the big flaws for a deck like that is they can be very weak to board sweeps. If this is your commander, it could get your feet back under you pretty quickly. Get this back out. When it comes into play, it also brings a 4/4 green Rhino creature token with trample, and then whenever it attacks, you get to populate. So not only are you getting a decent sized creature as a 2/5 on the battlefield, but additionally you're getting 4/4 in the form of a token with trample, which then of course can be duplicated with populate effects. Great card in this deck, and also a card you might be able to take out and put into a different token deck that you might already have built. Number 12 is Lightning Greaves, $5.32. You'll find this in the Primal Genesis deck as well. Of course, you know this card if you play Commander. It's a reprint, but it is a Commander staple. It's been reprinted many times, but what's cool about this reprinting is they gave us the art from the Friday Night Magic promo, which is getting hard to find in good condition, especially for a good price. So if you liked that art, well, here you go. You got another crack at it. This art was used on Magic Online promos too, so it might look familiar to you from there. Number 11, Volrath the Shapestealer, $12.85. This is one of the foil cards in the Faceless Menace deck. Of course, you could make this your commander out of the box if you chose to. Volrath has always been one of my favorite characters, so it's really cool to see this new card. Here's something to pay attention to in the rules text. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you get to put a -1/-1 counter on up to one target creature. But check out the wording here. 1. Until your next turn, this becomes a copy of target creature with a counter on it. Does not have to be one of those -1/-1 counters that it put out there. It can be anything that has a counter. And in a game of Commander, there's going to typically be some counters out there. Now this always stays as a 7/5, so you can't grow it by changing it into something else. But using this ability on the fly opens up a ton of possibilities when it comes to different abilities that creatures could have on the battlefield at any given time. And that alone might be a deterrent and keep people off your back. Number 10, Pramikon Sky Rampart, $13.24. This is in the Mystic Intellect deck, another one of the foil cards that could be your commander out of the box. This is kind of interesting because if I'm trying to run a combo deck, or maybe my deck is just a little slow setting up, like the Flashback deck is a good example of that out of the box, then I might want to cut off the people that can attack me, and this is a good way to do it. I play this, let's say the person on my left has the weakest board state, I say everybody can only attack the people on their right. Okay, wonderful, I only have to worry about creatures coming at me from one player now, and I can simply just concentrate on getting my legs under me, getting my engine going, trying to get to my combo pieces, what have you. I do think this is a unique design, if nothing else. Number 9, Dockside Extortionist, another card from Mystic Intellect, $13.53. Pretty expensive, and this one isn't even one of the commanders or anything like that. So why is this card so popular? Check out the casting cost. Red and 1. When this enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. So in a multiplayer game, that could be quite sizable. And for 2 mana, being able to ramp out that quickly with treasure tokens, that could be kind of crazy. And there's other things you could do with treasure tokens, right? Like Brutaclad might like this, for example. Or you could try to make Revel and Riches work. Everyone likes to try to make that happen. So even if you're playing fair with this card, it is quite powerful. But what if you flickered it? Tons of value to be had there. Also, I do think this has potential in Vintage. Maybe not so much Legacy, but in Vintage where Shops decks are everywhere. I might consider this as a sideboard card because if my opponent dumps a lot of quick artifacts, this could ramp me pretty aggressively. We'll have to kind of see if that actually pans out. But at least for right now, because of the cross interest, this card does have a high price tag. Number 8, Chainer Nightmare Adept at $13.99. This is another one of the foil cards, and this one is from Merciless Rage. So this is a unique card too. Of course, Merciless Rage is an aggressive deck. Like I said, there's drawbacks to that, but I kind of like what this card does. First off, this could just simply in a vacuum be a haste enabler. So I go ahead and discard a creature. I can actually cast that creature from the graveyard. It's going to come into play with haste. Okay, that's kind of cool. Now also notice the wording here. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste until end of turn. So if this is my commander, it doesn't have to be coming from the graveyard. It can come from the command zone. Not coming from my hand, it has haste. Also, if this is not my commander, but it's on the battlefield, I could play my commander. Now my commander has haste. This will work with Flicker as well. I haven't even mentioned yet that this is also a free discard outlet, which is perfect for Madness, obviously, but this also works with Reanimation, for example. Additionally, this could be good with Aristocrat strategies. If you have a lot of good enters or leaves battlefield effects or different benefits you can get from sacrificing, then wonderful, this is going to help you continue to do that as the game goes on. Number 7, Elsha of the Infinite at $15.75. Another foiled card, this one from Mystic Intellect. Savine is the one on the front, but I'm going with Elsha. I think this card is extremely good. Basically, it has a Future Sight style effect attached to it. So when this is on the battlefield, I can look at my top card. I don't have to reveal it, which is cool. Only I know what's there. And then if it's a non-creature, non-land card, I can cast it as though it had flash. Perfect, obviously, in the flashback deck, which is going to have a lot of instants and sorceries, and is going to try to have big turns where they go off, maybe knock somebody out all at one time. So this makes sense in that deck, but also beyond that, on its own, if I were to try to build around this, there's a lot of cool things you could do. One good recent card that comes to mind with this is Mystic Forge from Core Set 2020, because not only can Mystic Forge exile the top card of your deck if it's something that's in your way that you can't play, but also it opens up the scope of things you can play off the top of your deck, which is pretty cool. Number 6 is Ryami, First of the Fallen. This is from the Faceless Menace deck, $15.82. This is another one of the foil cards. Again, could be your commander out of the box if you chose to. This is a vampire, always worth noting. But here's what's cool about this one. If a non-token creature would die, exile that card with a blood counter on it instead. That doesn't mean just your creatures, that's any creature. That could be good in a multiplayer game. Now, if those creatures are exiled with a blood counter and they have any of the abilities listed here, then this card will get that ability. First thing I like about this card, it is graveyard hate for creatures when it's on the battlefield. If a creature dies, it's not going to the graveyard, it's getting exiled. Sometimes that will be relevant. The second thing I like about this card is it gets more powerful as the game goes on, assuming you're able to exile creatures that have those abilities, which I don't think should be too hard in a multiplayer game. Sure, you could go ahead and play a lot of creatures around it that have those abilities, choose creatures that have more than one of those perhaps, but I don't think the best benefit from this card is going to come from you going ahead and sacrificing your own creatures necessarily, but trying to destroy your opponent's creatures that have these things on them, because this can get out of hand quickly. If you can get like hexproof, indestructible, some protections on this thing, that alone is pretty formidable if this is your commander. So this is another very unique new card coming from these decks. Number 5, Marisi, Breaker of the Coil, $17.72. This is in the Primal Genesis deck, another one of the foil cards. So the first thing I like about this card is that first line of rules text. Your opponents can't cast spells during combat. So look at it this way. If you have Vidalcan Orrery out, you could actually play your spells on a combat step, and then they can't be countered. You kind of have free reign. If you had a combo deck, for example, you could go off on the combat step, and there's not a whole lot people could do about it, typically. Now, the second part is good, too. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, go to each creature that player controls. If I have an unblockable creature, for example, that could get out of hand pretty quickly. And that kind of snowballs, because once they do have to attack with all their things, and there they go, attacking other people, not me, then their defenses are down. They could really take some big hits. And then you could even do it again to them, perhaps. Ultimately, I really like the design of this card as well. Number 4 is Atla, Palani Nest Tender, another card you'll find in Primal Genesis, and another foil card there. $18.73 currently. This one's cool because you can pay 2 and tap, create a 0/1 green egg creature token with Defender. Whenever an egg you control dies, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card, put that card on the battlefield, the rest of the bottom in a random order. So you're able to cheat some big crazy things out, basically. So what you need is some eggs and some ways to get rid of eggs. So you want a sack outlet like an Ashnod's Altar, for example. Also, you could kind of go crazy with this with Thornbite Staff as well as the Ashnod's Altar, for example. And you could just cast all these huge things out of your deck. But even if you're just playing fair with this card, making the egg's going to be a deterrent. No one's going to want to attack you for you to dig into your deck and get something really big and crazy. Also, these don't have to be the eggs that this card creates. If you're using, say, Nesting Dragon, for example, it's another way to create eggs. Any egg will count, so that's pretty cool too. I've just been really impressed generally with these commanders. Number 3, Savine the Chronoclasm, $19.90. This is the face card that's in foil for the Mystic Intellect deck. You'll see that right at the front of the package. This one doesn't feel as exciting though as Elsha to me. It's not bad. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to this. That's actually pretty good in this type of deck because I mentioned earlier it's going to have a slow start. So anything that can defend you is going to be good. If this can stop a big old creature from running you over, wonderful. Also, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard each turn, you get to copy that spell. Perfect later when you're trying to go off and have a big turn with your spells. It completely makes sense in like a storm style deck. It completely makes sense in a flashback deck. But like I said, I really don't know if I'd play this over Elsha out of the box. Number 2 is another one of the face cards. This one from the Faceless Menace deck. Kadena Slinking Sorcerer, $20.27. Of course, this will be in foil. And this is really sweet for a morph deck. The first face down creature spell you cast each turn costs 3 less to cast. Whenever a face down creature spell enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So basically, you get to play a free morph creature and then draw a card on your turn. What's nice is that holds your mana back so that later on you could maybe use the morph ability or at least threaten to use the morph ability. Here's the other thing I like. The first face down creature spell you cast each turn doesn't have to be just your turn. If you have a way to flash them into play, then you could do this on subsequent turns. Nice value for sure there. Number 1, who else could it be? Carrick, Son of Yawgmoth, $26.27. This one is not even one of the foil commanders, but here it is on top because the card is just incredible. 3, black Phyrexian mana, and 4, for a 2/2 with lifelink, whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. For each black in the cost, and that's not just casting cost, notice, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. So basically, any of the black costs on your cards can be paid for with life instead of black mana if you choose to. That's insane. Phyrexian mana, of course, is one of the more broken mechanics that they've created, especially in the modern era. So a lot of players just want to build around this thing. Sure, it's going to be good in the Merciless Rage deck, which is where you'll find it. But ultimately, you either want to throw this in your existing Yawgmoth deck for value, or you want to just build completely around this thing, get a lot of cards that are going to cost multiple black to cast, a lot of activation costs that require multiple black mana, take advantage of the lifelink ability to regain your life when you can. Could be really sweet, turning your life into a very powerful resource. Alright, with that being said, that is a look at the top 20 cards. Like I said, you can find these cards cheaper if you shop around right now. People are starting to lower prices because the product is going to be opened in pretty high quantities very soon. So make sure you're looking for a competitive price, but this does give you a good scale, if nothing else, so you have an idea of which cards are popular going into this first weekend. Until next time, though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.